Hey guys, so we're going to do a reading tonight. So I know, and I'm going to kind of talk about too. I'm not just going to read. I mean, I will read, but I'm going to talk about what happened at Astroworld. One of the things it got brought into the group. Of course, it was bound to do that, and a lot of people, because they're spiritual people, can clearly see certain symbolism that was used in this Astroworld concert with Travis Scott, who everybody knows who he is now, but a lot of people probably didn't know who the hell he was at some point. So there's a lot, with the eyes and the pyramids, and then there was a swirl which looks like a vortex or a portal, which some are saying. And people are wondering, was this a demonic sacrifice? Was it this? Was it that? There's all kinds of stuff going on with that, that people are speculating. There's a few theories I kind of have on this. Anytime there is something like this happens, or there's any kind of thing like a conspiracy, okay? Like when it talks about celebrities and the cabal and the baby eaters and all that stuff, there are certain things you want to take with a grain of salt and be like, come on, this is, these things people are saying are kind of goofy. But then there is certain things, okay, folks, that are right in your face. What's happening, okay? That you can't ignore it. And stuff. Now, artists and musicians and all that, like rocks, like the rock people, the big hair bands and things like that, they will play around with certain things. And it's probably just kind of, a gimmick. When they would play with like satanic type of things, Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Judas Priest, all those guys, if anybody remembers those. They kind of play around with that, and it's more of a gimmick and things like that. But somebody like Alice Cooper, I'm from Arizona, he likes to play golf. He's pretty much a normal guy and everything. But then there are some who are really into stuff, okay? Not all of it's a gimmick, and not all of it's for show, okay? But what about this, to kind of look at, there was some very in-your-face symbolism that is hard to ignore. But one of the main things I really pay attention to with what happened at Astroworld, and I just got done viewing a lot of them, is witness accounts. People that were there, what they felt, what they experienced, and so forth. And a lot of things that are not necessarily of an occult nature, but like people not being able to breathe, people trampling people full of rage, like just rage energy kind of coming forward and everything. And then obviously people losing their lives, people becoming injured and things like that, and the chaos and the mayhem that occurred in that. But a lot of people were saying it was like being in hell. This was like being at a concert in hell. Now, apparently he did stop the concert a few times. I did see some witness accounts that he did, but then he went right back to it. And he ended up finishing the show, okay? So I don't see a whole lot of caring there. I don't see a whole lot of caring what was really happening. And I'm sure he was aware that some bad things were happening in this concert. So there was a few stops and pauses, but then he'd go right back to it. Was, somebody got hurt. Oh, somebody passed out. Oh, maybe somebody's dead, but I'm going to keep going. That kind of thing. Really just carelessness and, lack of consideration for, what his concert was bringing, with people. But a lot of the people in the concert are actually to blame. There are people getting real rough out there, okay? They're to blame too. But some of the symbolism, I know some people want to know, was this, are they trying to invoke something? Okay, now, I normally like to pull cards when you're here, but when I was on break in between work and stuff, because I work from home, so I'm always, all I have to do is walk to the tarot table on break, which is kind of cool. But I did pull some Lenormand cards, and some very interesting cards I will go ahead and show you. So we've got this card with the two doors, which really have to do with the path. But I also look at, like, you could take one door or another door. But I kind of look at that. Notice the entrance, to get into Astroworld was like his head and people walking in his mouth. So it's like some people walk in and they'll come out okay, but then other people walk in and they don't come out alive. Okay, so I kind of looked at that. That's the way I kind of felt when I looked at the two doors here in the Lenormand, that it was showing me is that people walked in, say the one stairs here, okay, walking into his mouth, but then some are able to escape, but then other people don't, they die right there. Okay, so that kind of startled me when I saw that. Now, this is what is interesting. So then some people wonder, and I'll tell you, this kind of tripped me out. Was this some kind of ritual? Some people wonder because there are some considerations like, we're just past Samhain and the harvest. We're the harvest time. The veil is real thin right around now. Okay, it'll inevitably close, but right now it's kind of in that point where it's still very thin. But I got the scythe, okay, which is about the harvest or the harvest of souls, okay, and it is harvest time, okay, but then I wonder if it's a sacrifice and a ritual. Then I also did get the lilies. Now, one of the things, the lily is a pure symbol in the Lenormand, but it also could be a symbol of paganism. Now, before all the pagans freak out, don't worry, I'm not saying anything about you, because paganism is a nature religion and so forth, and it's a huge umbrella which many things fall under. Okay, but what I'm saying is there are those who take very peaceful times, like the equinoxes and the solstices, okay, or working with moon cycles or various cycles and so forth, and they may use them for negative things, okay? They may use them where they're, where they're good, they may use them for negative things. And that's why I believe the scythe and the lily are side by side. That's something which is actually, which is a good time, Halloween, harvest time, and what that represents and means and so forth. But it was put in a negative way, where people lost their life. We've got this scythe, this harvest, okay? Now, then I have the fish, and then I have the ship. So what I kind of looked at that is notice the ship is in the air. So I feel there was an opening to his astral plane. Okay, so everybody has their own astral plane. Let me just, put it down there, right there. Everybody has their own astral plane. Everybody has their astral. When you fall asleep, when you dream or things, or if you do any kind of shamanic journeys, meditations, things like that, things that you see, feel, experience, your imagination and so forth, that makes up your astral plane. So this portal, which is this kind of swirly thing, he had this vortex thing, he had the audience, and the flames was like an opening to his astral world. And then I look at the ship, but then I look at the fish. And think of fish, in an ocean, how they can get crammed. They can get crammed in the ocean and just be running all over the place. Maybe they're even a little confused and stuff. And I think of the fish symbol in this astral plane with a ship. It's like he's almost like fishing for people, okay? To come into his astral plane. It's like he opened the door to his astral plane, okay? By creating this opening, this vortex. And these people experienced something very negative. Okay, does that make sense? Some of you might be kind of confused with what I'm saying, but then some of you are going to be like, you know what, I think you make sense. It's not necessarily as much a doorway to hell itself, though very similar, because he's lower vibe. And even my daughter asked her, I was talking to her, I said, hey, what do you think about this Astroworld thing that happened? And she's like, you know what, I don't know what to think about it, but he's a lower vibe guy. I go, yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. And so I feel like he lower vibes at the astral himself. Oh, definitely. Okay, anybody can know this concert was low vibe. Okay, that's a spiritualist. Anybody, you just watch some of the concert and the way the people are and everything, that's all lower astral stuff. Okay, so it's like he opened the door to his own astral. And everything is what he did. Think about it. He's got the mouth and it's wide open and people are walking through it. And then he's got this at his concert. There is some eerie symbolism. Apparently, 8 people passed. Really, you should just say were killed. And then he had 8 flames. And I think even somebody brought up he had 8 braids in his hair. I don't know. You could let me know if that's true or something. But there was something kind of weird with that. A little bit weird with some of the symbolism. And actually, 8 is a good number for me. 8 I wouldn't look at as a negative number, but it is something kind of odd that happens, that he picked 8 for whatever reason, and then 8 people pass. It is kind of eerie, which also makes me feel that, yeah, there were some forces at work here that wanted to cause harm through him by him opening this portal. Okay, so I know that sounds a little crazy, and some people be, now, did he intend for people to die or anything? That might be a little bit of a stretch, but to cause some kind of harm and bring some negative and open up this astral and affect people in this way to make them rage and stuff, yeah, I would say there was intent there, and everything like that. I would say there was, intent, because he feels that this is what they like and this is what people feed off of. But it went a little further than people expected. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the shadow deck, and we're going to kind of look at that. Was there intent with this? And I know some of you want to know, was it a ritual? Or maybe that wasn't his intent, but it turned into something, right? Because a lot of the witness accounts, a lot of people were like, I'm at a concert in hell. I can't breathe. Everybody's being trampled on. People are passing out. People are dying around me. And a lot of people were struggling to get out and couldn't get out of there. Okay, so let's go ahead and look, see what we got here. But yeah, a lot of people wanted me to look at this and do this read. We're going to use Deviant Moon. It's a good shadow deck. I figure a shadow deck would be the best one to kind of read this case. Kind of see what's going on. Well, there you go. The very first card is death. Yeah, I knew it was going to be intense. Not laughing at it. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm just, sometimes that's that nervous laughter I get when I see stuff like this. Like, oh God, here we go. But the death card. And notice the death, the main character here is trampling on the littler one here. Okay, and a lot of people got trampled to death there too. Okay, so that's the whole issue. Was this, so did he want this mayhem? Did he want this chaos? Okay, or even people pulling his strings. Okay, stuff like that. And then I kind of look at the 9 of Wands energy. 9 of Wands can be to be able to defend oneself and so forth. And it is a reversal that there were just no boundaries. There was no protection for these people and things like that. They just, the people just busted through, and it was every man for himself. Okay. But that is normally to build a wall, to build a defense, is what the 9 of Wands is about. Now, I do have the 9 of Pentacles. That makes me feel Travis Scott. It's in the reverse position. I have a feeling he's going to get sued. I have a feeling he's going to lose a lot of money. And we'll see if he can ever do a concert again. I do have the Lovers reversed. I know he's the baby father of What's-Her-Face Kardashian. I don't keep up on the Kardashians, so whichever one. Is it Kylie? I don't know. But that's definitely, that relationship is kind of coming to the forefront. People are looking at them like, you guys really don't care about us, do you? That kind of thing. But the only reason he's like really kind of known and things like that seems to be because of her, is kind of the thing. And some people would be like, well, he was kind of known on his own. And it's like, well, he got known a lot more when he got with the Kardashian. Okay. And yeah, the King of Pentacles, a lot of it is just about getting the money and the fame and the fortune. This is what he cares about, really, is the money. That kind of energy is what I'm kind of looking at. And then I've got the Fool. And so we got that. A lot of people just kind of went in trusting, just thinking they're just going to have a good time, and had no clue it was going to go down like this. Okay. Let's go ahead and look a little bit more. So I do have the Magician reversed, which We're talking about things like occult symbolism, magic, and so forth. The reverse magician can be my dark magician. Okay, so I do take note of that. So he's not stupid, and I'm sure he's not the only one behind it, but the people who kind of produce him, agents, things like that, bringing in some of this symbolism and so forth into this concert to make it all wacko and weird with all these, the pyramids, the eyes, and the vortex, the portal and everything like that, the flames, the various things he's been doing is all intent. But, I feel like when people play with these symbols, I don't think they're so ignorant and oblivious that they have no meaning or they will have no effect. Okay? So I don't necessarily take that, especially with the magician reverse and stuff. And then we've got the Five of Pentacles reverse. That is people like they were, this is the symbol of being thrown out in the cold and so forth. And that's what a lot of the concert goers were. They were defenseless with that Nine of Wands. And then just thrown out in the cold. They were trying to get help and refuge, which is what the Five of Pentacles can represent. Trying to get help and refuge, but to no avail for many of them. They were not able to get the help they need. Now, I look at the Six of Swords. It's a little bit different in this. Remember, I showed you the ship that was floating? And I said that's kind of like, making me feel like the astral plane. And then we've got this. I feel this kind of represents the astral plane right here with this kind of imagery here, opening the door to his astral plane. I'm telling you, that's what he did. And then we've got the Hangman, sacrifice. I know some of you want to know, is there something pulling the strings behind there that wanted to sacrifice some souls? Well, I've got the Scythe and I've got the Hangman. So I would say it's a very strong possibility, yes, that is actually what went down, is some kind of strange bits of sacrifice here. And we've got a lot of heartache. We want to keep our eyes focused. Try not to drown too hard in conspiracy theory at the same time, because there was a loss of life and there was a lot of suffering at this concert. So we want to be cool with that. And I've got like an unstable foundation with the Four of Wands here. And let's go ahead and look a little more. And then the outcome is a step. Whoa. Hold on, let me stick that up there. The outcome is the Seven of Wands in the reverse position. People just really couldn't defend themselves. Notice the little person is trying to get out of there. They're just trying to run, get away, get out, and so forth. And they're just completely trapped and stuck. And a lot of the people there that were in the concert, were stuck. They wanted to get out, and they couldn't get out. They were surrounded by people. They were trying to move. But some of the accounts were like, it was like being in water. Like you're just kind of moving in a wave and stuff like that. And they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. And then there was mosh pits. Everybody's kind of jumping in and doing things like that too. So I don't want to go so far to say this dude intended for people to die. So I'm not going to say that. I would probably get flagged if I did. But I do feel definitely the portal that he opened, okay, whatever beings that are in there at his astral that are pulling his strings and kind of possessing him and so forth, definitely want to harvest some souls. And that's why I've got the Scythe, and that's why I've got the Hangman, which can be a sacrifice as well. Okay? And, these people had no defense and everything for a bigger force that was a little more powerful than even all of them put together. Okay? In that thing. And so, and that's the thing, when people, when you play with certain symbols to invoke things, okay, bad things can happen, and especially playing with pyramids, people need to be careful. I remember once I was watching a thing, and I know for a fact, because I've known people back in the day, there are some people who tried to work with Egyptian deities. Okay, now there are certain deities that are very welcoming. If you want to worship them, this, that, and work with their magic, they're totally fine. Okay, some of the, like, the Irish, the Celtic, and so forth, those seem like anybody can. For example, those seem a little bit more, the Norse seem okay, and things like that, Odin and everything. But the Egyptians are very selective, from what I've learned. Okay, from people that I've known over the past, there were some people they accepted and they were like, great, they have an Isis statue, they revere this, that, and they're all cool and everything. But then you have others where bad things would happen because they rejected them and stuff. And they're like, I want no part of you. I don't want you invoking me. I don't want you doing magic with me, this, that. And real bad things would happen to them to the point they were like, oh my God, I will leave you alone. I'm so sorry. And stuff like that. So the Egyptian deities, when people try to invoke them or work with their magic and things like that, very selective. And if you mess with them and they don't want to deal with you, okay, you could have a very serious backlash. So I know that as a fact. I remember once even watching a special. There was this woman who got the bright idea to invoke Isis. And she was some witch lady. And so she's doing this thing. And then the whole room apparently just went crazy. And stuff was being thrown around. And it got all crazy. That's what I'm saying. They're very selective. They don't want just anybody messing with their stuff. That's just the way they are. So just if you're ever fascinated by Egyptian magic or things like that, just know, that messing with them, they're very particular who can and who cannot do that. Okay, it might be a past life connection or something like, I don't know. That's just something for a fact I know. So my point is, when people like bring these pyramids and they got the eye, and they got this, that, and everything going on, even when we're using it on the money, the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, but when they're playing around with these things, they don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know what they can invoke and upset. Okay, so definitely something got upset and something, wanted blood there. I definitely believe there was something going on where something got stirred up at this concert, with playing with all this symbolism and everything. I definitely do believe that. And some of it, even as popping up in the cards, seems to be doing that. We've got the dark magician kind of playing. That's what they can kind of do, is mess around with certain, symbolism and tools and things like that to invoke certain things magically. Okay, we've got the scythe, definitely the Lenormand next to the lily, which can represent certain like pagan things, pagan holidays, rituals, and things like that are pure, but can be tainted by dark things, and their holidays or the equinoxes and things like that, and the solstices can be used in a negative way. Okay, certain magic can be turned, just like the pentagram can be used in a positive way or a negative way, or a pentacle, one or the other, whichever one you want to choose. Obviously, in here, these are pentacles because they have a circle around them. So they can be used positive or negative. That's just the way it is. It's kind of open for who uses what. Tarot even can be manipulated in negative ways. There are things that can be done. Certain people can use magic and do harmful things with them. Okay. So it really, it really got to be careful and things like that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get the selenite. I'm just going to do this because I know this read is intense. But that's just to give a little bit of education. But yeah, I do think definitely something got invoked and stuff like that. But be careful as far as things like the Hollywood elite, the cabal, the baby eaters, and all that stuff. A lot of that's distraction for probably what's really going on. There's always something really going on that we just don't know. Okay, but in this case, there was some things were very blatant and in our face that people can't ignore, and that's why a lot of people are saying, yeah, this kind of looks like a damn ritual here. Okay, this looks like some ritual sacrifice type of weird stuff. And sometimes, we got to take some of this stuff at face value. We got to be kind of wise to it and stuff. People who don't believe in God, or they don't believe in the devil, or they don't believe in anything like that. And notice I have not said the devil, and I've not mentioned Satanists. I did not say that. Okay? I am saying open a portal to the lower astral, which all kinds of things can roam there. And it really opened to his, because he's a lower vibrational being, and he's got some kind of wicked stuff going on down there. Okay? Which can also, with certain entities, can kind of go, let me just use this as my way in, and let's go ahead and wreak some havoc. Okay? easily can do that and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not accusing. I don't want people to go, oh my God, don't accuse, you know, just like people are saying, don't accuse pagans. It's not pagan. No, it's not paganism. Of course it's not. I said, but certain symbols being used, twisted in certain negative ways and stuff, it can be. Just like we've got, you know, the pentagram. This is the shadow deck. So it's inverted. The pentacle is inverted in this one and so forth. And sometimes they're upright. You know, and that's what we always kind of want to look at and so forth. You know, what is that? You know, there's the banishing and so forth. You know, certain things that they can mean and everything. But yeah, there was definitely something invoked that night. And that's why I wanted to pay attention to the witness accounts, you know, because that's really going to tell me if this is just, okay, they just got real crowded, real crazy, this, that, or there was something present, okay? And their accounts, there are a lot of people saying it was like being in hell, it was this, it felt like hell, I felt like demonic, that was some demon shit. You know, a lot of people are saying stuff like that were actually at the concert. And that's what I'm paying attention to, you know, more than other people that are just reading the news and watching a YouTube here or there. Okay. And then, of course, I pay attention to tarot because it's going to tell me a lot too and everything. I'm going to do that as well, you know, because that's my connection with spirit. But there definitely does seem to be something that got invoked that definitely wanted to reach some mayhem and maybe harvest some souls. Okay, just, you know, putting it out there and everything like that. And I hope you guys enjoy my read. Stay safe out there.